I think that you'll find that we're a very lucky country. We have research that is national. Not a lot of countries have that. And SARF have been providing this type of research for 35 years, so they've got a really good idea, a good base. They understand how to do this and how to do it properly. And I think that, you know, if you start letting SARF go, you'd end up with a whole different set of problems. So SARF a lot of people say that SARF is no longer relevant and that it needs lots of changes and everything. But at the end of the day, if we do not have a SARF, what are we going to have? We're going to end up with everybody doing their own bits and pieces of research, and nothing will synergize, and you won't be able to do comparisons. SARF have actually offered us a base where we actually can look at research on a national basis. You can look at TV, you can look at radio, you can print, you can outdoor, you can look at online, you can look at all sorts of different brands. And it is, to me, still a very, very, very relevant piece of research, and something that I use almost on a daily basis.
Yeah, because the agencies rely heavily on TAMs and AMPs, and I guess if everybody in the industry is using it, then you are comparing apples with apples. You have to have a base, and SARF is your base. And I know that there's been a number of the print media guys who've complained bitterly about the fact that they don't feel that they're represented in the sample well enough, and that it's not done as often enough for them to actually show that they're tracking ahead of readerships going up and things like that. But you can only do so much. SARF only raises X amount of rand, and that money has to go across a lot of different products. And if we didn't have it, us agencies would be going, okay, so what do we use to... But then you don't have anything, because what are your options really? We won't have anything. Yeah, sure. We will literally have some media owner research that you'd be going, oh, I'm not sure if that's good, you know, because if you do a piece of research for yourself and you're researching yourself against your competitors, who's going to look good there? You are. You're never going to let the competitors look better than you. True. So you'll skew your research. And I don't know, maybe that's a bit unfair, but I would, if I was doing research, I would make sure that I look better than my competitors. True. It's just a natural thing to do. So now the launch of Dstv I, how do you think that's going to affect the likes of TAMS? I think that it's going to do wonders for the smaller channels like yourselves. I mean, you have audiences where if you start looking at some of the sample sizes currently in TAMS, where CNBC will be lucky to have one viewer on the panel, and you go, oh no, but you can't use that to judge how your audiences are doing. It's not fair. So that panel, the Dstv I panel, is just so much more robust. But is it enough? I don't know. We're now next year we're going to have DTT come in, and digital terrestrial will bring a lot more new channels into the mix. And that means that TAMS is going to have to change anyway. They're going to have to increase their sample whether they like it or not. Dstv I will have its channels from a satellite point of view, but we've got to make sure that whatever happens, that there's a commonness across them, a common platform that you can use as a comparison. Because if you can't use the comparison across main TAMS and Dstv I, we're going to have a problem too. We'll have a big disconnect. And I know that there's already been discrepancies about the fact that Dstv I panel is a different set of people almost, you know, and you can't compare apples with apples then. And you go, okay, ratings maybe not, but if you convert those ratings back to thousands, and you talk about how many people, yes, you can do a comparison. Let's talk about research in Africa. Quite a challenge, isn't it? What are you guys doing in terms of, you know, if a client wants to... I always say to people, Africa's not for the faint-hearted. Yeah. If you want to go and advertise in Africa, you actually, excuse me, you really need to get your ducks in a row. And it's a very difficult area because they charge differently to the way we charge in South Africa. For a start, they charge in dollars very often, which it just escalates the costs astronomically. There isn't a lot of research. There's not even a lot of audited circulation figures for newspapers, for example. So you hope when they tell you they're selling 20,000 copies a day that they're not lying to you, but you can't prove it. So it's really a toughie. Africa is a toughie. SARF has been making inroads, and they've gone into certain countries, and they have started doing the normal AMPs. And I know we've got AMPs in Zambia, we've got AMPs in Kenya, and a couple of other countries. And that gives you the base, and they're going to have to move into other African countries, absolutely. But it's an expensive thing to do. But for all of our sakes,
it would be a great thing if they could actually get into all the African countries. I mean, Nigeria, sure. It's a massive country.
It is, it is.
With massive amount of media.
Well, Dstv I promised that they would roll, the next phase would be in Nigeria, so let's see what happens.
Oh.
We have to wrap, Virginia, but any final thoughts?
I think that watch this space when it comes to research on television. I think next year is going to be an interesting time. Dstv I, DTT, watch the space.